You guys, do you feel like failure is a step to the success?
Absolutely.
It's a must.
It's a part of
Absolutely,
life, I think.
100%.
It's a must.
Without failure, there is not a
Yes,
success.
yes.
Because whatever you do and
You have to
maybe
try.
succeed without really fail, until you fail that you really know like what you were doing.
You have to go through it.
And from my own experience, I'm just speaking from my own experience. The first time I fought, I get in the UFC and I was going there. I mean, I signed in the UFC just after 2 years of doing the sport. But I was just this guy, strong, coming from Africa. Basically, I didn't know anything about the sport. I wasn't even going to do MMA. And then one day, I'm like, oh, we have a UFC contract here for you. I'm like, why not? At the end of the day, I'm looking for an opportunity, and this seems to be a great one. I went to the UFC. I didn't know the rules by that time, right? But I was just blessed by a string and this. And sometimes I get into the fight, and then I barely touch somebody, and then he's in the floor. I'm like, why is it in the floor? Then I'm like, you knock him out. I'm like, I don't know. So it become very easy for me, right?
Exactly.
And the problem is that I get used to that. I start thinking that I'm really the man. You know, like, okay, I have that, you know, until the day that I get into this fight. And this was the first time that I fought for the title. I fought against Stipe, and it didn't go my way. You know, I would really go there to like, I'm going to knock him out. Stuff, right? Easy, right? It didn't go my way. I have to go all the way to the 5-round fight. And I never even been in 3 rounds, even 2 rounds in my life. I mean, whatever was my career, 2 years, 3 years, I never been in, experienced that. So I have a lack of experience of a long fight, which is like three rounds. Then I find myself in the title fight, which is 5 rounds, without ever fight a 3-round fight. So
you have to adapt.
I have to learn, not adapt.
Yeah, to
I
learn.
have nothing to adapt. I just have to learn at that night. And then after that night, at the press conference, I lost the fight by far. I mean, I was in the fight at some point, out of energy, gas out. And now I'm like, this guy is really weak. Otherwise, he could have knocked me out now. What are we doing here, right? But after the fight, I went to the press conference and people was like, okay, what do you think happened tonight and this? I'm like, listen, we are not going to make any excuse, but tonight I have learned more than I have learned from my past 4 years into this game. And I meant it. You know, it might sound cliche, but I meant it at that night. Because from there on, any fight that I was having, I even have a rematch with him 2 years after. But at that time, I had a number, you know, because from the previous fight, which was a failure, I learned everything from it. I know the guy from top to bottom. You know, like I was prepared. But if it wasn't from that first fight that I have lost, I could have lost against him at that time again, because I could have done the same mistake. Because maybe I didn't understand the thing that I understood at that point. But based on our first fight, I knew that, and I went there very confident, but not overconfident. I know that I'm gonna beat this guy. I know the guy. I have learned, you know. So I think failure is very important to build a success.
It's a must. It's a must. I always say, or you win or you learn. You don't lose, you learn. And
But you lose also.
You learn.
You only lose when you don't
try.
You only lose. I think you lose when you don't try because you're afraid of losing.
Yeah, but it's hard to accept
it. The fear of losing is exactly what
it's hard to accept.
But that's a different ball game. But technically, as Francis just said, and I'm convinced of that, you win or you learn, because there is a learning process into that. Like I said, and I'm with Francis on that, it is really cliche, but it's so true. The only time you really fail and you lose is when you don't
give everything.
It's when you don't try.
Yeah,
and if you don't,
just give it a
again,
try.
how many times you went in that water and dive?
I failed 6 times. I succeeded the 7th time.
That's what I'm saying. So you learn. Okay, I went there. That's where they caught me.
And the
I
seventh
went
time-
there.
Gets
there.
better every single time.
And,
Yes.
and the seventh time, I was well prepared. I knew a lot of things from all those 6 times. Every time I learned something. I learned some mistake that I have done, that we have done. I learned this. I find myself to the point that I was in the middle of the ocean with a boat, with a raft. We put a disc like this to avoid a rudder. Because I already know, all those
you
little
didn't
secrets.
know it at the-
all
like the
those
first
little
time you
secrets,
could-
I knew
That's
it
what
at
I'm
that
saying,
time
but you
already.
gotta go.
Right? I have to learn, and one also, as you said, failure is a must, because when you win, you celebrate. When you lose, you question yourself.
That's true.
Because,
for example, that's true.
you're a champion, you're a winner, you feel like
Yeah,
you're
but
the
it's
man,
normal, so
you
what?
have everybody number, you celebrate, you're the best in the world, people praise you, you're the guy. But when you lose, you take yourself back, you think about, why do I lose today? What can I do better? But when you win, you don't do that. You feel like you're the man.
And this,
feel like it's normal,
So
but it's not
failure
normal.
build you even better than success.
but I'll have to say, special champions question themselves when they win.
Oh, for sure.
First and foremost, you got to be a champion to be a special champion.
First, you have to be a champion.
Okay, so special champion question themselves when they are at the top, not when they're at the bottom.